Okay, so reducing the risk of sexual assault is the next topic. Okay, so the definition of sexual assault. Sexual assault occurs when a sexual act is directed against another person when that person has not consented, is incapable of consenting, or when the act is forced. So y'all pretty much know what that means, but if both people aren't in agreement, don't do it. If the person can't tell you they're not in agreement, don't do it. Yeah, just don't force. Yeah. Okay, so consent is based on choice. Active, not passive. Only possible when there is equal power. I mean, pretty much we all know what consent is. You have to, both parties need to be in agreement. Don't force them to say yes. That's not consent either. Just because the person says yes out of fear, or just because you put something up there, things of that nature. That's not consent either. Also, consent is not clear. That's an important one. When alcohol and drugs are involved. So, definitely. Just because if the person's under the influence of something, and they're giving their consent, that's kind of iffy. Okay. Okay, so alcohol is the most frequently used drug to facilitate sexual assault, and then other drugs include GHB, roofies, and other things of that nature. Obviously, these can be slipped into someone's drink, so when you're at parties and things of that nature, hold on to your drinks, don't put them down, make sure they're under constant watch, don't let them leave your hand. Well, very important. All right, so that's the end of that topic.
Sexual harassment / misconduct. All right, sexual harassment is a form of sex discrimination that involves the imposition of unwanted conditions or requirement on the continued employment or education of the victim. So, talk about two different forms of sexual harassment: quid pro quo harassment and hostile environment harassment. Moving on to sexual misconduct. Conduct of a sexual nature that, although not so serious or pervasive, that arises to the level of sexual harassment, is unprofessional and or inappropriate for educational and working environment. So, what is sexual harassment? So if you're in class, or say if you're walking down the street and you see, I guess for a male perspective, you see that girl walking by and say, man, she's fine, right? Don't worry. All right. But you sort of have to be cautious of it at all times, no matter where you're at. And so if you're on this university campus, sexual harassment can occur in many different forms. Like if you're talking to somebody, there's physical contact. If you go to somebody for a hug and there's no consent, as Kevin was talking about, then that can also be sort of elevated to a form of sexual harassment. So just to give you some statistics, among students who have been harassed, and these are taken from this campus, 39% were in a dorm or student housing. So how many of you are in Jester or King Solving or
Moore Hill, San Jack, all the dorms?
Yeah. Okay. Well, it shows you it's very prominent there. So beware, don't consent to that. So how to report sexual harassment? There's some contact information for two individuals here who, if you've been a victim of sexual harassment or if you see it happening to someone else, you'd like to report it, there's these different links here that people that you can contact in order to report that.
Okay, so fire and life safety. Okay, so how to respond to a crisis at your event. Okay, so first you stay calm, then you call for JK. First you call for help, you stay calm. Be prepared to give as much information as possible to 911 and whoever comes for the emergency services. Contact the office of student affairs as soon as possible to get assistance with how to address media, stuff like that. Okay, so crime prevention. So, as you know, there are those blue light call boxes. They're yellow on campus. So, say if somebody's following you or something like that, you might want to stop one of those. give that a quick call. Use those if necessary. They're there for your protection. Use the buddy system. Always walk in pairs. And when there's light outside, don't, go jogging in the park at 1 a.m. That's convenient because you've been starting from work. None of that. Use UTPD to provide security for on-campus events. So yes, UTPD is always there. They're quick to arrive. Don't keep your valuables out of sight. Keep your valuables out of sight. Keep your valuables out of sight in your car. You don't want that breaking into. You got to replace the window, and you got to replace the stereo, whatever else gets stolen. Okay, so the RAD classes, there are also those for ladies, Aggression Defense classes. Campus Watch, they send you nice emails and text messages of all the events going on. Contact UTPD to borrow their engraver, and that's mostly like, say, if your stuff gets stolen, you can actually engrave your initials and things of that nature onto them. So if they try and take it to that pawn shop, it can possibly get recovered in that manner. And then the UTPD site is up there just for other examples. Okay, so your friend is acting strange. There's a behavior concerns advice line, just in case you don't know what to do. You can call them at 512-232-5050. They also have a website. Okay? Oh, and they're open. Anonymous calling does take place 24 hours. Okay, so basically these are just some of, hazards on campus. Basically, if you see it reported, there's some examples up there. Don't assume somebody else is going to cover it. That's, if everyone makes that assumption, then nothing ever gets done. Okay, so weapons. According to this Section 11-804, apparently, according to Section 11-804, it's illegal to carry weapons on campus. I'm pretty sure everyone has a rough definition of what weapons are. Knives, guns, things of this nature. Pretty much anything that you can threaten someone else's life. I'm sorry. Anyways. Okay, that's in that topic.
They're just talking about student organization travel. Okay, so when do these travel policies apply? As you all know, we've kind of been talking about travel forms that we have to fill out if we're going to FRC. So anytime that we're going more than 25 miles away from the main campus, those sort of things have to be filled out so that people at the university know where we're at, what we're doing, just in case there is an emergency that occurs at the event. All right, just talking about also when they apply, but sort of to the international. So at UT, students, including sponsored and registered student organizations, must comply with the university's travel policies for international destinations. So if the travel is required for a member, it doesn't matter if it's sort of that situation or what the purpose of the international travel is for. It doesn't matter what event it is. It just matters that you're going more than 25 miles away, or international if you're leaving this campus in general. Then there's information down there for the SAOD. Okay, then what are we required to do as a student organization? We travel, so what do we have to do? For domestic travel, we must complete the required paperwork and some online pre-approval forms. And we've been doing that with FRC already. From the international perspective, you must also complete different paperwork for pre-approval from the sponsoring UT department. So with NSBE, our sponsoring department is the Equal Opportunity Engineering Program, and for different student organizations, they'll have different sponsoring departments. We're sponsored, so that's sort of what applies to us. General emergency policies. So this is just talking about what you can do as far as if you're caught in an emergency. You can fill out a police report. If you're in an adverse situation and you find yourself, you can contact your advisor. If you're not actually on campus, you can contact them. You can always call 911 for help. I don't think they ever go busy, or I think they always pick up the phone. So you can contact them, and then also the Office of Dean of Students.
Okay, so behavior at parties and other organization events. Okay, so here are just some tips to remember when planning events. So choose events that reflect the values and beliefs of the organization and members. We do that when we organize events for NSBE. If you're in other organizations, y'all will be learning this too. Invite people in groups we know, so don't invite that sketchy person, that person that may cause trouble. Appoint or designate event monitors to handle emergencies and other event details. Appoint designated drivers if alcohol is going to be served. Confront inappropriate behavior quickly and firmly. Don't let it escalate out of control, anything of that nature. Have an emergency/crisis management plan in place just for anything that might happen outside of the norm. And remember the types of events that you host are a reflection on, or that we host are a reflection of our organization's values. So, okay, factors to consider before planning a date or slave auction. So, something to consider. It involves bidding on human beings. Yes. The process devalues a human being. That can be true also psychologically. And this country's real and tragic history. So, I mean, we all know it. We all took that history class. And safety concerns. Okay. Okay, so for the event planning, student organizations can be quite complex to manage. Obviously, there are several factors to different events and things of that nature. So you want to select a person or other organization member or a team or whoever you select, and it lists some qualities of good people to point event planning to. Some of these qualities are experience in organization, excellent organizational communication skills, ability to handle stressful and fast-paced situations, and a passionate and strategic vision. All right. Okay, so basically, I mean, there were a lot of things to cover, and we went through this pretty quickly. But take these things all seriously. They're really everyday problems. So do keep them in mind when you're planning events, when you take this to other organizations. Keep these values and problems and things of that nature in mind. There is a reason why they do require us to give all of this information to y'all for y'all's own protection. So keep that in mind. So just as a review, so there are two wallet cards available, not that we have them, but you can get them probably from the SSB at the LD, which is on the fourth floor. There are content-specific web pages for each topic we talked about tonight. And if you have any questions, there's always the office of the Dean of Students, which their information is listed on the slide if you're interested in that. Okay, does anyone have any questions related to any of the safety topics? No? Okay, well, all right.